The following is a presentation of TFNN. Live at TFNN, the Power Trading Hour, with your host, David White. Now, the author of The Path of Least Resistance and the Tech Insider, David White.
Good afternoon, traders. Boy, it is just another gorgeous day down here in Florida. End of bike week for those people like to ride motorcycles. Unfortunately, some didn't understand the risk reward about not wearing helmets and paid the ultimate price over the weekend. Pretty high price for 10 people over in Daytona this week. It doesn't matter whether you're trading or anything else. Risk reward actually comes back in just about everything. Everybody's thinking about, and it's one of those tough things where you have to really think about whether it's worth it or not. I know we have a no helmet law down here in the in Florida, but for me, it's an awful tough one to think about. But today is Monday, March 19th. The Swallows are returning to San Juan Capistrano. Always kind of a neat thing, but apparently this goes back at least 250 years to a mission that was built in California. Kind of a nice thing to think about on a day like this, but it's just absolutely gorgeous. I'm looking forward to about 7 more days from now when the traffic isn't going to be absolutely sick as it is down here. We've had the best year in Clearwater, Tampa for vacationers in 12 years. A lot of that being to warnings of going down to Mexico. A lot of students have been warned to stay away from Mexico, and they ended up here in Tampa this year. And I'm sure the people that have a lot of restaurants and bars and hotels are probably more than happy that they're coming to here and, putting a little money in the economy. Of course, anybody that lives in Florida loves tourists because, of course, we have no state income tax. We love putting a little tax on all the hotel rooms so we don't have to. So pretty nice, but just a gorgeous day down here. I can't imagine anybody not thinking it's one of the best days of their life to be down here today. Although I hear the weather in up north is just beautiful. June is the end of Operation Twist. We've been talking a little bit about that. And that's what's on my radar. Shanghai was down 1% over the night. There are 3 carrier groups in the Med right now and 4 minesweepers, so there's always that geopolitical risk. Apple's making it rain money for anybody that owns their stock with 2 or 3 years of share buyback and almost $40 billion in the kitty to do it. It's hard to think that Apple's stock share will be down anytime soon. If you are a brand new CEO taking over for Steve Jobs, probably the biggest thing is making sure that your stock doesn't plummet one day soon. And whether or not they ever spend a dime of that $40 billion, the threat is always going to be there. And that threat is that Apple's going to come in there and buy some. Probably, my guess is that they'll end up buying $1 billion worth of their own stock. Kind of ridiculous to be buying stock at $500 or $600. If they really wanted to buy and use that money, they probably should have used it a year and a half ago when it was $200. I don't know, but the threat of it's going to be able to keep the shorts off their back for years. Anytime it gets a little weak, they can dip in and buy a few shares. Going to be very tough to make that stock go down anytime soon. Of course, they released their new iPad HD, which is what I'm calling it, until they actually come out with a real name for it. Pretty neat product. There's a few things of interest about that, and we'll go on to that. Few stocks out there moving. Genmark, GNMK, Hastings Entertainment, HAST, Arc Wireless, ARCW, Atlas Energy, ATLS movers. Kohl's also kind of being a decent mover out here. Let me pop that one up. What is that? KSS. I noticed that was moving fairly briskly today, down almost 2.7% on a day when not a lot's going on. One of the bigger movers out here, at least the large cap. A lot of these smaller caps down, like what was it? Arc, it's down almost 3%. Hastings is off almost 10%. That's Hastings Entertainment, HAST. But again, these are all small caps. Same thing with Genmark, GNMK. It's off about 8%. But not a lot of well-known names moving very large today, other than Kohl's store, and it's off about 2.5% on news. Other things we have, the Avalon Rare Earth CEO was on CNBC today. Don't really spend a lot of time watching CNBC during the day, but caught in the news the transcript of what he was talking about. And he was trying to say, you know, we do heavy rare earths, so we're going to be better. Heavy rare earths, what everybody's looking for. We've talked about it here on the show and in my Tech Insider newsletter, the differences between the different uses of rare and heavy rare earth minerals. And he's got a nice case that he said that, you know, we're going to be about 70% or 75% heavy rare earths. And that's all good and well. It was the 1 second where he said it's going to be 4 years before we deliver anything. And that is the whole crux of trading rare earths. Can you ship something in the next year? And I think so many people in these mining stocks have watched companies that are 4 years out, like Avalon CEO said today. And when you know that you can't make a dime, you can't ship anything for 4 years, do you really want to be in a stock where they may have to come back repeatedly to the marketplace and raise additional cash before they can ship? I would say that it's going to be 4 years before I would say, you know, maybe you're you're trading Avalon, kind of a nice little penny stock for trading rare earths, but I would probably look, if you're actually talking about a company that has some backing. MCP probably still has some problems as they ramp up to speed, but at least they are delivering something and actually making money. The only company that I know of in North America that in the next 4 years is actually going to be shipping rare earth minerals. So just to always remember that rare earths are not so rare. Finding a fairly decent supply is rare, and that is a concentration. Normally, rare earths appear about 1% in concentrations. What these companies are looking for is mining sites where they can get maybe 5% of the actual ore and everything they dig up that is somehow a rare earth mineral to actually make it. So just a thought there on rare earths. That's that 1 second where, you know, he says, well, you know, in 4 years, think about if it was a gold stock. Would you buy a gold stock knowing that their mine wasn't going to be ready for 4 more years? I don't know. It's too hard to know what's going to happen in those 4 years, whether or not people are going to come up with something better than the current rare earths. I don't know, just an awful lot of risk in that particular company. There's a great, about 4-minute speech on TED.com. A lot of people know that from listening to the show that I like to check it out. They always have maybe some thought-provoking discussions on there. And Rob Reed points out the fallacies of entertainment lawyers and their copyright math. One of his examples is that if you had a current iPod with 64 gigabytes of memory, according to the copyright lawyers and the people running the music business now, literally you would have $8 billion worth of stolen property. I like to have $8 billion in my pocket. But of course, that's the fallacy of it. But if you want a really good idea of how numbers can be ginned up for a political agenda, take a look at it. It's Rob Reed and the $8 billion iPod. It's TED.com. Always some neat discussions out there, but I cover a lot of the SOPA and PIPA and all the other things they're trying to drive through the U.S. government right now that are really draconian. And, I don't mind laws governing copyright infringement, but these are what everybody's trying to drive through now are just sick abortions of our Constitution. And even though I might like it because I put out things like software, I know that it's a double-edged sword, and they're going to use it to actually restrict free speech at some level. And most of these laws actually give the U.S. government preemptive ways of going after money and power and punishing those people that they dislike, which is something I worry a lot more than maybe a few people stealing software, maybe my newsletter or something like that. The E3 show was last week. It is the Electronic Entertainment Expo, commonly known as E3. It's an annual trade fair for the computer video games company and companies that mostly revolve around Wii and Xbox. We talked a little bit about Xbox's new product, or Microsoft's new product, for this fall. They've had the Xbox 360 for many years. They're going to be upgrading that to the Xbox 720. Some of the features we know that are going to be in that are Skype and streaming systems to go up against Apple TV and some of the other things that other companies have come out with. They haven't shown it, but the orders are already in for the components. So I'm not exactly sure. A lot of times companies don't like showing things if they can't ship it, just because whatever they have out there in the channel is going to be, they're still going to need to sell it. And maybe they're selling well enough that they just think leaving it alone is a better deal. And maybe back in one of the hospitality suites, they were showing it, but no sniff or hide nor hair of it showing at E3 last week. But the parts that they did order would show that an October shipment for this new Xbox 720 are well on the way. When we come back, we're going to talk about the iPads and their shipping on Friday. Kind of like some of the other issues with them. Apparently a few of them are having an overheating problem. And maybe there's a little bit more to the numbers that they're quoting on Friday than you would think. We'll be back in just a second.
Here's what people are saying about Tiger TV.
Let's go to John in Tampa. Hey, John, what's going on?
Hi, Tom. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You having a good day out there?
A wonderful day. I love your Tiger TV. I watch it every day. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, man, I appreciate you out there watching it. How long have you been watching the Tiger TV?
I'm watching almost a month now, and it's wonderful.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's cool. You see the charts and everything. Thanks so much for the hard work.
Tiger TV, a great news service from TFNN.com. TFNN is proud to bring you the cutting edge of investment newsletters. Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Ken is a top-down investor who lets price and volume in the major stock indices tell him when to be in the market and when to be out. By using his unique blend of fundamental and technical analysis, Ken will protect your hard-earned capital while realizing breakout gains. Go to TFNN.com today, click Investment Newsletters, and get Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks free for 2 weeks.
You take a hands-on approach to managing your investment strategy. You're always looking for the next trading opportunity to magnify your perspective and maximize your returns. Direction Shares connects sophisticated traders with a powerful array of ETFs from a wide range of asset classes. The markets may go up and down, and you want tools for both sides of the trade. Discover how we can help at DirectionShares.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction Shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction Shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction Shares at 800-851-0511. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors employing dynamic strategies. Investors in the fund should understand the consequences of seeking daily investment results, understand the risk of shorting, and intend to actively monitor and manage their investments. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
Hi, I'm Steve Rhodes, co-host of The Money Masters with Tom O'Brien, seen daily at TFNN.com, author of Mastering Probabilities, a daily investment and trading newsletter, and teacher of The Money Game. Studies show that 3 out of 5 people are afraid for their life in trading these markets, and the number one reason given is fear of loss. Look, fear stands for false evidence appearing real, and the money game proves it. Lesson number 1, don't risk more than 1% of your trading capital on any trade. Why, you ask? Because 35 trades in a row where you risk 50 cents and make $1 are all you need to double your trading capital, versus the 230 losing trades in a row you would need to bring your balance to $100. Let me teach you more about the money game risk-free for 30 days. Go to the homepage of TFNN.com and click on my name, Steve Rhodes, for your 30-day risk-free trial. You were born to be a money master, and I'll teach you how.
Would you like to discover the next great tech stock? David White, TFNN's technology guru, has just launched his new newsletter, The Technology Insider. In his newsletter, David will be looking for those shining stars that may turn into the next Apple, Microsoft, or Cisco. David combines his technology background as a software programmer with his market skills as a successful professional trader to give you this unique newsletter. We're on the verge of the next great tech run. With the Technology Insider, you'll be in front of the run-up and not lagging behind. David is developing a long-term investment portfolio. Therefore, we're only offering the Technology Insider as an annual subscription with a remarkable price of only $395. That's right, for a little over $1 a day, you'll receive the fundamental technology wisdom and technical trading skills of the Technology Insider, David White. What are you waiting for? Go to the front of TFNN.com, click on the link on the front page, sign up for your 2-week free trial, and become a Technology Insider today.
This segment is brought to you by Goldfields. For more information, just click the Goldfields banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And as we come back, there's a few blogs out there that are talking about a problem with the new HPad. And I'm going to call it the HD because internally at Apple, that's what they're calling it. And I imagine that if they had their issues done with the Chinese people that originally owned the iPad name, it probably would actually be called the iPad 3 or the iPad HD or something. But apparently they don't want to add to the fines that they may get imposed by the Chinese government for using iPad's name and actually being a little less than truthful about the iPad and who it was going to. We chronicled how they actually set up another company to buy the iPad name so that the company wouldn't know what business that they were in. But they're in the iPad was a product. Never sold many of them, but they did have kind of stretched the truth to get the name out of this company for less money than probably they would have gotten if they knew Apple was behind it. Anyway, there's two things. One, the iPad may be prone to becoming physically warm during use, especially in the lower left-hand corner where the processor is when holding the iPad upright in portrait mode. But that's pretty much where the processor is. No real mystery. What is a little bit concerning is that it gets so hot that you can't handle it. It takes a while to do that, but if you do have it on, let's say you're reading a book or you're watching a movie, it does become awful hot to the touch. I've talked about the real future of processors and electronics on that side for both Intel, AMD, and ARM's holding is not only how much you can do and how fast you can be, but a lot of it now is just how energy efficient you are, and the byproduct of energy is heat. So one of these things is that they are using that new 4-core i5 chip that they had put together with ARM's holding, but it continues to be a trade-off, and apparently a lot of people are out there with little singed hands. Another thing that I heard over the weekend is, of course, the PR machine for Apple was out, and AT&T about the record sales. One of the interesting thing is that when they're saying the iPad sales and the total numbers and that this is a record, to get that record, they had to actually include both the iPad 2 and this new HD with a about $125 lower price at some locations to push out the iPad 2s. It's kind of it's a little fuzzy as to how well the iPad HD is actually selling. And I think we'll probably get better numbers after the quarter ends and when Apple actually reports. Of course, they came out and started raining money everywhere with their discussion this morning and are up, nicely. It's, what are they up to? $12. $5.97.44. So not a bad day, especially you got the Nasdaq up $27. You got the S&P up 7. The Dow's up 16. It's been the lagger today as we watch the markets. I haven't really checked in on the volume, but I will here just before we've got just a minute or two left. So better probably check back in that real quick to see what we're getting. This is the end or the beginning of options rollover. You normally get 2 days, and normally by about 2 o'clock tomorrow afternoon it will be over. Volume is actually fairly decent compared to a few of the days we've had in the past. 3.2 billion shares so far today. I'm really suspecting that the next big move we have is probably going to have 5 or 6 billion shares one day, and that's probably going to be a big signal that we've either pulled back off this top and we're going much higher, or a blow-off top with something like 5.5 or 6 billion shares on the consolidated tape for the day. South by Southwest was completed, what was it, on I think Sunday or Saturday was the last day. We talked a little bit about it on the Tech Insider Hour on Friday and the week before. It is a convention of musicians and artists, a movie kind of deal. And normally a lot of movers or shakers are there, and things like Twitter and some of the other things came out of South by Southwest and became big hits off of it. The only thing that was a hit out of that show was a thing called a juice pack. It is mophie.com, and it's a very small battery that plugs around your iPhone and doubles the amount of power it has. But that was the big hit there.
In just December of last year, the price of gold was down over 10%. In today's highly volatile gold market, you need someone in your corner that understands the complex relationships that exist within the price of gold, as well as within a variety of gold equities. Whether it's the South African gold miners and knowing how the Rand-dollar relationship will affect their bottom line, or understanding how John Paulson's $5 billion trade in the GLD can move the market, Tom O'Brien gives you the direction you need to become become a better trader each week in his newsletter, The Gold Report. With over 20 individual equities covered and almost another 20 on the potential watch list each week, in addition to covering the XAU, HUI, GLD, and dollar, The Gold Report is a great source for any trader that is looking to be diversified in today's volatile gold market. For your 30-day free trial to Tom O'Brien's Gold Report, log on to TFNN.com today. Don't miss out on this great offer. Act now.
Hi, folks. This is Tom O'Brien. If you want to get great trade setups in equity as well as the option market, come over to TFNN.com and test drive my daily newsletter, Market Insights, for 2 weeks absolutely free. Each trade setup comes with a profit projection as well as stop placement. Included in Market Insights is a Twitter alert service. This allows you to take advantage of intraday setups. Volatility is back in the markets. What does that mean to you? To me, it spells short-term opportunity each and every day. The days of trending up on lighter volume are gone. We have come off the highs with volume across the globe. Don't get caught in a complacency trap. Many of the indices have given back 2 months of trading in 1 week. We have a trader's market. You can take advantage of this trader's market by test driving my daily newsletter, Market Insights, free for 2 weeks. Market Insights will give you the edge you're looking for in the markets. Go to TFNN.com, under newsletter, hit the Market Insight tab for your 2-week free test drive right here, right now.
What type of investor are you? Conservative, moderate, or aggressive? No matter your investor personality, your overall portfolio should reflect your financial goals, time horizon, and your risk tolerance. Help ensure your portfolio is appropriately invested with an asset allocation plan from Morgan Stanley Smith Barney. Simply picking the right stocks is not enough. Research has shown that choosing the right proportion of stocks, bonds, and cash is essential to the success of your long-term investments. Morgan Stanley Smith Barney believes that a carefully selected portfolio can lower volatility and increase investment return potential. Find out about what asset allocation and the Morgan Stanley Smith Barney financial advisor can do for you. Call Angela O'Brien, First Vice President and Certified Financial Planner of the Clearwater, Florida branch at 727-441-6108 today to discuss your personal financial needs. Asset allocation does not assure a profit or protect against loss in declining financial markets. Investments and services are offered through Morgan Stanley Smith Barney, LLC. Member SIPC.
Are you looking for a precision edge in the market? Something that can stack the odds in your favor? Then look into Larry Pesavento's new trading newsletter, Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind. In each weekly issue, Larry explains what's going to happen in the markets based on the pattern he sees developing and gives you actionable trade ideas based on those patterns. Plus, you'll get his detailed analysis on a variety of markets and sectors, including stocks, treasury bonds, the gold market, oil, the dollar, the forex market, and more. And you'll get the Technical Corner segment, which is a short but powerful weekly training session on trading. You'll get access to all the patterns Larry is seeing in the markets, plus the Astro Harmonics and powerful Bradley stock market model that Larry utilizes for less than $5 a day. An extremely potent combination that will give you just the edge you've been looking for. Try Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind absolutely free for 2 weeks. Go to TFNN.com and click on the free trial link at the top of the page. That's an $85 value, yours free when you register right now. Get Larry's Patterns, Profits, and Peace of Mind and get the edge you've been looking for.
This segment is brought to you by Direction Shares. To learn more about tactical tools for the sophisticated active investor, hit the Direction Shares banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
As we come back, going to take a quick look. Where we got those at? And just wrap up some news, and then this is a long segment. We're going to get onto some stocks that I think were very interesting. One of the things is we've heard a lot about Foxconn and the sweatshops in China, and I'm probably the first one to say that I wouldn't want to work in a Foxconn shop. But what we found out is that there was a show that basically started all these rumors of a lot of people killing themselves and a lot of other poor conditions. And the conditions are probably not good, but they are a far cry from where apparently a retraction came from National Public Radio. There's a show that they have called This American Life, and that radio show was basically all made up. or 90% of the allegations on that show were made up, and they continued through an echo chamber to actually, pop back and forth till it became true. And once the gentleman that wrote the article, and his name was Mike Daisy, that basically they were able to prove that it was all made up, he said, well, it was the bigger issue in that, yeah, what I said was a lie, but they're still getting treated horribly. So we may be seeing kind of an end to Apple's issues over with Foxconn just because they have kind of proved that this guy made it all up. And there's probably some bad things over there, but probably not as bad as everybody would think. People are still, they're getting about, their pay is up about 100% in the last 2 years. In the last 6 months, it's probably up 50%. So it's they've been moving up the pay scale. In fact, Foxconn is moving a lot of new manufacturing to Vietnam over the next 6 months and building new factories outside of China. Foxconn is owned by a public company, and they are a Taiwanese company. That they build in China is kind of funny because, of course, those guys have been fighting for years over whether or not Taiwan is part of China. But very interesting that when it comes to high employee payment, as soon as it started to go up well enough in China, they're already moving to Vietnam. So we might see a lot of the same thing of the rural people moving out of the the countryside to come to work in big assembly plants like Foxconn. Anyway, it was kind of interesting that the lies continued to spread. But last week, NPR, and actually if you go on their website, NPR's, they've got a nice big retraction, although I have a feeling that most people will never hear it. One of the things it came up last week, and I never really got to it, was something that I think is very smart for Google to do, and that is they've hired the director of DARPA, Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency, is leaving her post at the Pentagon to go to work for Google. She knows all the smartest people that have been working in these fields for DARPA, which brought us the Internet. Thank you, Al Gore. But a lot of these other things that have come from research and development in the military that have become huge products in the mainstream have come from DARPA. And she's going to be leaving her post and moving to Google. Google's already given away a little over $100 million in X Prize money. Of course, their X Prize was part of the recent space shots by private organizations. I think they gave away $20 million for the first X Prize. But they've been giving out a lot of these prizes from solar cells and races across the desert in Australia with solar cells alone and all kinds of things. And Google's, they're, I think, doing something smart with their money. Not rebuying their stock so much as looking for opportunities, outside their normal bailiwick. But very interesting, and I have a feeling that for one time she's probably going to have most of the people that are the smartest and brightest out there designing hardware and software for the government. You probably will find these people in the crosshairs of Google very shortly, and they're probably going to give them a lot of cash to come up with new things on Google's, which is pretty interesting. I wanted to get to some charts fairly quickly today. Somebody in the den said Google is a division of DARPA. It's, there's always that kind of ring around the bathtub when people go from government to private industry and private industry to government. But it is, I guess it is what it is. But I think she's in a little bit of trouble because she gave a contract to a company that she owns a big part of already. So there was kind of a little conflict conflict of interest. I kind of looked at it as a bigger picture thing. Is Google has a lot of cash like Apple does, and they're looking for ways to put it into new development, new products over here. The first one I wanted to look at, and I was talking about it with Steve Rhodes just before the show started, that there weren't many things out here giving a decent signal of swings at highs or lows. Not a lot of Gartley patterns today or the last few days. The Healthcare Select Spider, the XLV, is one of those that's giving a fairly decent signal. Combined with the whole medical field riding on the Supreme Court decision, which is probably due out somewhere around the 5th of May. And in fact, I heard that the Supreme Court is going to give up to 3 days for arguments over the health care bill. And it makes you think that they've got a lot of questions to ask on it. Right now, most people are giving it about a 70% chance of at least the individual mandate going down. But you know, stranger things have happened out there. But what we do have is a chart telling us that it looks like the healthcare sector's probably hit its high here on maybe that optimism that the healthcare bill will go away. May 19th, $36.57 with 17 million shares. May 19th this year, or actually last year, 2011. We've gotten above that, and the volume really just hasn't come back in. It looks like it wouldn't be a lot to close below it. We've got the $37.10 high with 7 million shares on the 15th of March here, so just a few days ago. Any close below that $36.57 high would be probably a pretty decent sell signal if you've held through this high. What do we got here today? Close 30. We're going to be probably 30-40 cents above that for the close today. But probably want to be watching this Healthcare Select Spider XLV over the next few days. I think that was one of the ones for a actual index being very interesting. The other one in the EFTs that I thought was interesting was the GDX. It's the Gold Vectors Gold Miners. Not giving us a signal just yet, but getting awful close. I said in my newsletter earlier, well, I guess it was last week, that a lot of times, especially in commodities, where stocks, I like to have them end on a whisper. A lot of times commodity stocks and stocks that track commodities, a lot of times the best time to buy them or sell them is when they have a huge bang. And what we're seeing is, it's kind of high volume here in the last few days, but getting awful close to lows. What I'm looking at in the GDX is the October 4th low at $50.42. You had 29 million shares on that big spike down on that day. We went below that on December 29th on about 12 million shares and bounced out of that, had a nice kind of automatic rally off that low. We're coming back to that level, 24 million shares on March 14th, and we're going a little sideways. I suspect that we've got just a little bit farther to go. There's a nice gap at that, what was that, about $45 level, is that it? Let me go back just a little farther to find it. And I suspect that's what we are looking at. And that gap actually started back on the in 2010 on 8/4. So what is that? June 4th? Is that right? September 4th. September 4th. And that gap came up on 12 million shares. So not a super high volume gap, but that gap's been hanging out there for a long time. We've touched it once with 12 million shares. If you could get back into that, what is that, 49.22 level, once again back here in the GDX, you might have an actual signal that is showing some kind of bottom in these gold stocks. You know, it may come, there's one more down there at the $45 level. So if you break that, you know where you're going to next. But if you come back one more time and we see like 6 million shares at that $49, $48 level, back into that gap, I'd be very wary about thinking that these gold miners at least are going too much farther lower. But those are the two ETFs that are really have been kind of interesting. And what do we got here? We want to go through a few individual stocks. We talked about Amphenol on Friday, so I may bring it up again today just to see what it's doing. We talked about this as a connector company for just about everything that, if you put a new computer in your car, there's going to be a plastic connector. It's going to pop in there. They're going to bolt it to the firewall. That's going to be it. If you're driving a Caterpillar truck, it's probably you're going to probably pop in a new electronic lever or start switch. There's going to be a little connector and a pigtail. You're going to plug it in, and that's it. There's no more soldering things back in or putting pins on the end of wires. It's all plug and play these days. And Amphenol is one of those companies. We've been looking at this coming up to this high. I think it still could get a nice test over the next couple of days. But I'm going to be watching very closely APH, that's Amphenol, and its test of the March 7th high of last year, $59.11, 1.7 million shares. When we get into watching just the last few days here, 500,000, 300,000, 700,000, 370,000. It's certainly nothing coming close to that 1.7 million share high we saw back in March 7th of 2011. And since we saw Molex doing the exact same thing last week, we want to make sure that if you're looking at the electronics and the semiconductor marketplace, you got to be watching those companies very closely, because every time you make something electronic, it is going to have a connector, and one of those two companies, Amphenol or Molex, is probably going to have its little fingers in the pie somewhere. So I don't know if you want to actually trade them, but you certainly want to watch them as the canaries in the coal mine. Let's see, what else do we have? One of the companies that kind of caught my eye was also a oil company. We've seen these oil companies kind of go after these highs and have lighter volume. I wanted to follow this up from last week. It's Toroso Oil Corporation. TSO is the symbol. And it's up here testing a high with about half the volume. Having a tough time, as you would think, getting up above these highs. It's kind of ducking down below it. We'll have to watch how this thing closes out. But $29.61 on the November 9th high of last year, 8.1 million shares. As we get into it, we have yet to get anything close to 50% of the volume testing this previous high. Did get to a high of $30.15 today. And, maybe we're going to have probably come in close to half volume by the end of the day on this. But you really have to kind of keep an eye on some of these, because I think we went through a few of them on Friday. But very interesting in these companies, looking like maybe they're ready for a decent pullback. Another one that, let's see, caught my eye. Let me see here. Was I wonder if I picked up the right stock here. Okay. Ship Finance Limited. I know a lot of people have been, maybe this is why I was looking back at this one. We're looking at the shipping companies out here. One of the companies that popped up on my scan was Ship Finance International Limited. Of course, they finance ocean-going ships out there. The symbol is SLF. Is that right? Yeah, SLF. Kind of interesting. They're actually one of the few companies out here that's having a little bit better volume. Had very good volume on Friday as they hit the previous high out here on November 14th that had 420,000 shares. They came in with 790,000 shares. Pretty nice. So I know Tom is probably going to get back on that tonight. He is back tonight, and he'll be starting in about 12 minutes.
In the world of financial markets, there's a new player in town with an exciting new way to trade the markets. Nadex now offers binary options as well as bull spreads in a wide range of indices along with commodity and forex markets. With as little as $100, you can gain access to a new way to trade global financial markets while guaranteeing that your risk will always be capped. Nadex allows you to multiply your trading opportunities in ways never imagined before and access markets you once thought were out of reach. With short-term trading opportunities available, including binary options expiring each hour the market is open, Nadex allows you to take advantage of a variety of market conditions regardless of volatility or market direction. Now is the time to take advantage of this exciting new market. Don't let this trading opportunity pass you by. Open your account today by clicking on the Nadex banner on the front page of TFNN.com. Nadex, a better way to trade.
TFNN is proud to bring you the cutting edge of investment newsletters. Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks. Ken is a top-down investor who lets price and volume in the major stock indices tell him when to be in the market and when to be out. By using his unique blend of fundamental and technical analysis, Ken will protect your hard-earned capital while realizing breakout gains. Go to TFNN.com today, click Investment Newsletters, and get Ken Shreve's Ultimate Growth Stocks free for 2 weeks.
Hi folks, turns out my best student became my best teacher. Steve Rhodes absolutely raised my standards, and I'll guarantee he'll raise yours.
Thanks, Tom. What I've learned is that if you want more, you must become more. And that transformation, folks, that occurs the moment you decide to become a master. Now, the quickest way to mastery is through immersion. And for 2 solid days in Denver, Boston, and Tampa, I'll create a new standard of wealth for those few trader investors who have a burning desire to succeed. At my Master Trader course, I'll teach you how to create the ultimate money machine. These are the best kept secrets in the business. Roadblocks, folks. Dabblers give up when they first appear. Stressors last just a little bit longer, but masters expect roadblocks and achieve extraordinary results when they bust right through them. I have all the benefit of knowing the type of wealth creation that I can generate for you. You don't. That's why I'm making this unconditional money-back guarantee. If for any reason you're not satisfied with my Master Trader course, I'll refund every penny. That's right. I take all the risk and you get all the benefit. Go to the homepage at TFNN.com and sign up today.
Put the power of the Chapman Wave methodology to work for you. No matter what market you trade, what time frame you trade in, or your trading style, the Opening Call, Basil Chapman's daily market newsletter, is bursting with the information and trades you need to become a more successful trader.
I've been using Basil Chapman's Chapman Wave methodology for several years now. His Chapman Wave can be used for any time period for not only equities, but futures, currencies, commodities. I've been also a subscriber of his Opening Call, which I find an invaluable tool to help me analyze the potential of the market each day. He gives you opportunities to go short and long. It includes recommendations on stocks. I strongly recommend people using the Chapman Wave, and I very, very strongly support the use of his Opening Call.
To find out more about Basil Chapman and his Chapman Wave methodology, and to get your 2-week free trial of the Opening Call, a $64 value, visit TFNN.com today.
Here's what people are saying about Tiger TV.
Let's go to John in Tampa. Hey, John, what's going on?
Hi, Tom. How are you, sir?
I'm doing great. You having a good day out there?
A wonderful day. I love your Tiger TV. I watch it every day. I'm like a kid in a candy store.
Oh, man, I appreciate you out there watching it. How long have you been watching the Tiger TV?
I'm watching almost a month now, and it's wonderful.
It's pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, yes, it's cool. You see the charts and everything. Thanks so much for the hard work.
Tiger TV, a great news service from TFNN.com. Catch Tom O'Brien, founder and CEO of TFNN, professional trader and educator. Also a special guest on CNBC, analyzing the commodity markets. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
The show tonight, and I'm sure he's well rested. Maybe he'll tell us about his seafaring activities while he was there. We also had a commercial during the break about Steve Rhodes going on the road. March 23rd and 4th in Denver, April 13th and 14th in Tampa, and April 27th and 28th in Boston. Make sure you sign up for his Master Series Trader program. You know, like he said, 100% money back guarantee if you don't think it was worth it. So pretty good deal. Anyway, we wanted to get to the RIDEX S&P Equal Weight ETF, and the symbol for that is RSP. A lot of people watch the S&P, but one of the problems is a lot of indexes are weighted for the cap. So you get Apple basically, what's the one stock wagging 100 others in the NASDAQ 100. One of the things we do have in the RIDEX S&P Equal Weight is that it just looks at 500 stocks, and you're probably going to get a fairly decent look at that. Compare that against the actual index that is weighted to some degree. Again, 500 stocks not going to be near as bad as 100 stocks on the NASDAQ being weighted, but still give you a little bit. We finally got a test today. We'll have to watch how this thing comes up with the eventual volume. It looks like it's going to be coming in light. But as we look at the RSP today, you want to be looking at that May 2nd high. You had a high into that of 730,000 shares in that ETF. Got about 540,000 so far. So certainly going to be something like 10, 15, 20% light on that ETF. The energy not all that bad when you look at my power law vector indicator, but I think we've got, probably some kind of midterm high. Keep thinking we're going to get a nice pullback, and that pullback, if it comes on light volume, is going to be the key to buy the next particular breakout. If the volume comes down on, or the volume comes on heavy volume, then we know that the action is going to be to the downside. But we've had enough days to actually look at kind of a nice W formation in the S&P, and the energy, not all that bad. Had some nice pop-up to start all this, but as we do look at these high volume highs out here, looks like we're probably going to come in just a little bit weak in the marketplace. Other things going on out here. Let me find a few other stocks that look interesting. One of the other ones is telephone and data systems. This one, a little W pattern on the other side that you normally look at, but gave a nice little signal up here at the top. TDS is the symbol. When we look at that topping formation, basically tested a 1.6 million share high on January 24th at $29.38. Came basically into that candle, didn't touch the top of it, but not unbelievable as it actually hit that high with 1/3 the volume with just 520,000 shares. Now we're making our way back down on this stock, and as usual we find something which is a decent gap up day, and that gap up came with 500,000 shares on the 28th of November, and then a nice big candle the day right after it with almost 1.3 million shares. So if we come back into this, we might be finding a few stocks that are coming back down and actually making some light volumes, but not too many of them. But there's one. It is TDS, and I do see Tom O'Brien. He looks rested and tanned and ready to take on the next 2 hours on TFNN. Well, have a great evening, and hang on for about 10 minutes, and you'll have Tom O'Brien.